Good morning, everyone. Jim Laird from Largo, Florida. It looks like it's going to rain here, so I set up underneath the awning so that I don't have to do a sprint with the computer halfway through the show. So, beautiful fall day here today. Just got off a text exchange with a client, and she was asking, on cloudy days, is it still important to go outside? Yes. The bottom line is you need more natural light in your life and less artificial light in your life. So the more natural light you get in your life, even on cloudy days, the better you're going to feel, the better you're going to do. And if you're in a situation where you're starting to get too much sun, just go in the shade. But always default to natural light, because that's just what we're wired to be under, right? As opposed to these, to steal a phrase from someone else, a fake alien sun that we've made that people pretty much live under all day. Now, the topic for today, the importance of recovery, how to optimize your rest days. I used to think that, and obviously this depends on your goals, right? So if you're just training to look good and feel good, you need to challenge yourself, but it really doesn't have to be a beatdown like people think. Like, you don't really have to train like Rocky Balboa. But even so, with our modern world and the amount of chronic stress most people are under, I used to think like, okay, I trained like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, right? Those off days I would think would be when I'm not training is my recovery days. But I was working 12, 14-hour days those days. I was training hundreds of people a day. I wasn't sleeping. So that wasn't really a true recovery day for me. And I didn't really have a true day off to really decompress and relax. And I got away with that for like 15, 16, 17 years. But, the thing is, if I'd actually made more time to relax and chill, my results probably would have been way better than they were. And they were pretty good as it was, but it could have been so much better, right? And so, if you're working 40 to 60 hours a week and you've got all sorts of stuff going on in your life, and then you try and throw like beat down workouts on top of that, it's probably not going to end up going very well for you. So if you have a stage in your life where you're having to work a lot, it might be wise to do things in your training that are more restorative, and then really focus on getting your nutrition dialed in and getting outside as much as you can, as opposed to trying to make up for that lack of rest with more exercise. And a lot of people kind of have a hard time understanding this process. Well, I've gained some weight, I'm not in a good place. Well, I'm just going to train really hard and that's going to make up for things. But if you're not sleeping and if you're not resting, I think you'd be shocked what happens if you start going outside, you start, getting to bed a little earlier, you start cleaning up what you're eating. What'll happen to your body, your body composition and everything else, just by doing that alone. And I mean, even if you look at, the Bible and what it recommends, take one day and chill, essentially, right? And so that's super important to have at least one day where you're just decompressing and you're relaxing. And that's not like sitting in front of the TV and watching Netflix all day. That's like going outside, getting into nature, going to the park. If you're having a hard time and you're struggling and you're tired and exhausted, go outside, sit in your backyard, listen to the birds sing. When's the last time you did that? As opposed to like taking caffeine or a pre-workout and then going to a gym and going to a class and having an instructor yell at you because you're not motivated enough to train on your own. So just a few different things for you to think about perspective wise, because you're only, if you want to make, gains in muscle mass or performance, as far as, whatever your goals are, you're only as good as your body's ability to recover. And people today are less active. Absolutely. But the amount of mental and psychological stress and the lack of sleep makes it very difficult for people's bodies to adapt to physical training. So if you want to truly change your body and you want to push some forward level of performance, you've got to put some effort and resources into self-care. And, there'll be those people that can push through, like your Dennis Rodmans, your Keith Richards, your Michael Jordans that can, have severe flu where they're vomiting and stuff and have an absolute world record performance. But most people are not going to be able to pull stuff like that off on a regular basis, if ever. So there's some people that are just wired a certain way. And those are the people that kind of get glorified, put on a pedestal. And basically, we should emulate these people, like these people that will run, hundreds of miles and break their shins and keep going. If you find that great, good for you. Knock yourself out, break your shins. But for me, that's not a good long-term strategy. Now, if it's an emergency situation, a life or death situation, and you have to do something that requires you to harm your body in a certain way in order to survive, then go for it. Lord knows I did all sorts of things to my body for sports and for everything else. That's your personal decision. But before you add intensity, always consider the health of the overall organism. Thank you, Roderick. You and Dr. Stillman always give great perspective. Thanks for sharing great content. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We're happy to help. I always try and make people think about things. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. My big thing is to help you think about things in a different perspective so you can come to your own conclusion. And I have decades of destroying my health and doing dumb things. So if you can learn from me, wonderful. And sometimes people have to stick their finger in the light socket before they actually learn, like my dad when I was growing up. Son, don't ever put your tongue on cold metal, in Canada. 15 minutes later, I'm in the playground with my tongue stuck on a playground post because I had to experience it for myself. And of course, I've got nobody around to help me. I've got no warm water to pour on the cold steel, and I end up ripping, a big piece of my tongue off, which is absolutely horrific. If you've ever done that, it's not fun. That was 2 or 3 weeks of absolute agony because you can't really do anything for it. It hurts like whatever expletives you want to put behind that. So always consider, make sure you do the maintenance on your car, which is, sleep, the oil changes, all those things that you would do to a car before you drive it really hard, you need to do for yourself first. Right. And then you got to manage yourself. If you've got a certain period of time where you have to work your ass off, this might not be a good time to push performance. Right. So Stan Efferding said it well. He's like, it's almost impossible for me to do like a pro bodybuilding show or a high level powerlifting meet and grow my business at the same time. So you got to strategically pick and choose what you're going to develop and grow. And the better your foundation, the better your overall health, the more you can get away with. So make sure you get on our email list, stillmanwellness.com. There'll be a pop-up. Put your name in there. We're doing a webinar on testosterone tomorrow. It's totally free. It's at 10 o'clock. We had a little mix up with our webinar last week because of the internet. So we'll be redoing that here shortly, and we'll send a notification out to the people that were signed up for that. We'll get that done here pretty quickly. We apologize for that. But here in Tampa, for some reason, the internet, I was doing a podcast with a guy here last week, and it literally, both of our computers literally were both in the Tampa Bay area, and both of our computers literally froze up. It was really funny. Like the internet just went completely haywire. It seems to happen around 2 o'clock in the afternoon for whatever reason. Maybe it's because everybody's online at the same time. But get on that email list, and you'll be able to get a free webinar every week, just as a reward for being on our email list. And then if we ever disappear off this platform, which could easily happen because we talk about a lot of things that the powers that be really don't want us to talk about, we'll be able to direct you to where we're at. So thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day. Do a couple things today. Get outside more and take 10 minutes. Just take 10 minutes to go outside somewhere where it's quiet in nature. Relax. Put your phone down. I almost dropped the F-bomb there. Put your phone down. or put it in airplane mode and just close your eyes and just breathe through your nose, in through your nose, out through your nose. Calm yourself down. Listen to the sounds. Or when you go for your 10-minute walks, look at the trees. Like, look at stuff around you. Like, I used to sit when I was a kid and pick up blades of grass and just stare at them and be like, this is insane. Like, how wonderfully made this is. Like, be more observant. Like, look around at what's the beauty of nature and what's around you and your surroundings. And it has an incredible calming effect. And over time, these things just compound and pay dividends. But our modern world has got us so spun out in our head and so distracted that we don't slow down enough to actually enjoy the beauty and the surroundings of what's around us. So have yourself a great day, and go get outside. You deserve it.